Good afternoon. We are now live again.
All right. So once again, this would talk about solitary dialogue. So now, if you have noticed again, when we say solitary dialogue, it is understanding of yourself and to ready yourself for new actions. And the first one that I have mentioned earlier or a while ago is have you experienced to converse with yourself, with your two self? The first one is your frustrated past self, and the second one is your hopeful future self wherein in the past you have failed something, but still your future self would say, I can do this. I can develop those failures that I have. So that is one solitary dialogue. So have you experienced that one? Of course, we have experienced that. And I know as along that experience of having frustrated past self and your hopeful future self, you are being positive that though you feel frustrated on that past self, still you're capable or able to move forward and try to give more of your best on the future path that you will be taking. Right? So that is one. Now, next one is we have another type of solitary dialogue is conversation between your past courageous self and your future doubting self. So there are two selves here. First one is past courageous self and the second one is future doubting self. Actually po yung kabaligtaran ng nauna. So, dito naman, yung past self mo is very courageous. Kaya ko to, kaya lalabanan ko to, kayang-kaya po to. Pero sinasabi ng future doubting self mo, kaya ko ba talaga? baka kasi baka kasi hindi ko kaya at magkaroon lang po ng failure like that. So that is a second solitary dialogue. The third one is, or another types of solitary dialogues that you might try are conversations between your tough and tender selves. Tough and tender selves. So this is between task-centered and person-centered self. For example, with this pandemic, you are very eager to finish all the tasks. So that is actually task-centered. But however, on your behalf, or I mean, half of yourself would be saying that you need to rest because you just have one body and one life. So you need to make it slowly, step by step, like that. So that is task-centered and person-centered selves. The same way, we have pushing and pulling selves. So push na push and pull selves. Kaya mo yan, hindi mo yan kaya mo yan, kayang-kaya. Hindi mo talaga kaya. So that is pushing and pulling selves. Next one is caring and challenging selves, worried and laid-back selves, convergent and divergent selves, and creative and conservative selves. So there are really people who are, educators that are very creative. Kayang-kaya talaga lahat. Meron talagang potential na ganito, ganyan. Pero talaga merong mga teachers na naman, meron silang talent na ganun, pero conservative sila, which means if they would like to show it, then go. But if not, then hindi, wag lang po. Hindi lang po ngayon. Okay, so that is creative and conservative, which means they are not showing or being, they're not relating what they have to others. Okay? So with these three solitary dialogues, what have you done in order for you to achieve where you are now? Okay? Sige. So develop a solitary dialogue that is tailored to who you are and what most you want to accomplish with your students. So again what most you want. Ano po talaga yung gusto mo at ano po talaga yung gusto mong makamtan ng mga estudyante mo. Okay? So that is the solitary dialogue that you should always secure to achieve. Okay? So those are the solitary dialogues that I'm talking about. So your frustrated past, hopeful future, courageous self, doubting self, tough and tender selves. Okay, now, if you have mastered already the professional reflection in terms of self-knowledge and the solitary dialogue, you can actually move on to this what we call professional maturity. Now, as you reflect on your past, present, and future to develop self-knowledge, and as you engage in solitary dialogue, your professional perspectives become more mature. And with that, you are concerned with continuous improvement in achieving results, or in reaching valued outcomes. So I'll be sharing with you, this would be the last part, I think, the 10 things in terms, the second to the last part, the maturing educator's three levels of concern. So let us check ourselves, saan po tayo ngayon in terms of these levels. First one, we have three levels: focus on self, focus on others, and focus on results. The first one is first concern, all about personal security, status, and comfort. Can I survive this job? Are you still on that concern? Secondly, concern number two, professional self-esteem. Do I feel good about myself in this job? That is still on self. Third concern, personal values, hopes, aspiration, and plans. Can I make a career in education? Can I achieve my life's goal as an educator? And lastly, concern number four, professional behavior. Are my professional actions congruent with my values and plans? So again, these are the concerns under focus on self. So the question is, are you still on yourself, focusing on yourself? I try to ask. Secondly, focus on others. So focus on others, we have three concerns. Concern number five, others' perceptions of behavior, values, and plans. What are others' perceptions of my professional behavior? Ano ba yung sinasabi nila tungkol sa akin? Concern number six, others' attitudes about behavior. What are others' attitudes about my professional behavior? And lastly, for focus on others, we have concern seven, effect of behavior on others. What are others' nonverbal and verbal reactions to my professional behavior? So these three concerns are actually focused on others. So are you still on this part? Are you kind of educator who is focused on others? Which means before you decide on something, you need to consult first if others would like that also to happen or not. All right? So, or lastly, you are on the level wherein you most focus on results. When you say focus on result, we have three concerns. Concern 8 is immediate applicability of teachings. What can others do as a consequence of my having taught them? Concern 9, future applicability of teachings. What lasting effects have I had on my students? And lastly, concern 10, contribution to society. What long-lasting contributions do my students make to improving or improve our community, nation, and world? So if this are your concerns, which means you are now mature in terms of being a professional. So the question is, what level are you now? What level are you now? Saan na po tayo ngayon? Okay? So with this will be the last part, I think. I'll be giving you 10 ways on how to attain this professional reflection and how to attain those what we call self-knowledge, solitary dialogue, as well as the professional maturity. So of course, we need to plan, act, and evaluate. So this is reflection into action. And these are the sequence of introspective stages. So wow, now the term is introspective stages. Now, the first thing to do is assess the situation. Your situation is made up of the people you interact with in the present. In particular, focus on your current thoughts about your students' attitudes and capabilities. Also, look at surrounding social events that are helping or hindering student learning. So the more that you are focused on things that helps you to have good teaching and learning process, then go on. But there are things nga naghihinder sa imo, then therefore you need to do something about it to stop or more or less lessen and minimize it. Okay? Assess the situation. Secondly, set clear goals. With thoughtful reflection on your own values and beliefs, you can set goals or targets or objectives. For example, your goal might be for your students to internalize some new knowledge or skill to act in certain new ways, to develop particular attitudes or values, or to view themselves in new ways. So therefore, you need to set clear goals. The third one is the what we call brainstorm action strategies. So to move from your present situation toward goal achievement, use your knowledge and experience to create such action strategies as revised lesson plans, curriculum designs, and instructional procedures. Of course, with the help of your colleagues, with your administrators, with your principals, and people around you, with your students, parents, You can consult to them and brainstorm action strategies to more or less help you in your teaching, learning, pedagogy, and process. So, of course, number four, after those brainstorming activities, implement action plans. Carry out an action strategy that you created in stage three on a trial basis. So, try to implement the plan that you have initiated. And number five, monitor your own actions. You try to monitor your new actions, calls for you to reflect the here and now. Strive to make moment shifts between doing and thinking by becoming sensitive to nonverbal reactions of your students. Actually, the more that you are very sensitive with the nonverbal cues, the more that you would be knowing what is really the reaction of your students toward your teaching. Okay? And next is number six, assess others' reaction. Okay, now think about how you might collect data to assess your students' perceptions and attitudes about your new actions. What research methods might you use? So try to collect data among your colleagues kung meron ba ganitong nararanasan din sila at ano yung ginagawa nila. If you have commonalities in terms of your problem, then of course you need to derive on a consensus on what solution can you apply on that context. Number seven, evaluate what others have learned. Think about how you might collect data to answer questions such as, have my students developed the qualities that I was looking for when I set the goals in stage two? Are the outcomes or results that I am getting desirable? Have there been any unexpected and desirable outcomes? So these are the questions. Evaluate what others have learned, particularly your students. And now, this is the most important thing. Confront yourself with the results. Whether the result is positive or negative, you need to confront yourself. If it is positive, then good, which means you're doing great. But if the result is negative, wherein it would reflect na, okay, wala talagang, meron talagang kinakailangang baguhin sa sistema ng aking pagtuturo para nang sa ganon, merong mga matutunan o maraming mga bagay ang matutunan ng aking mga mag-aaral. So confront yourself with the result. Do not be shy, hesitant to confront yourselves. And the more you confront yourself and be true to yourself and be truest to yourself within, the more that you will be reflecting the real thing that is happening to you. So the more that it is true, the more that the real solution will be applied to the situation. Okay? And of course, last two, number nine, reflect on actions to take next. Here, you virtually repeat stage three, actually. So this time, either fine-tune the action plan you trial tested in stage four, or make a more significant modification if that plan did not work well. If the latter seems appropriate, engage colleagues, consultants, or college professors in problem-solving discussions. So this is more of a collaborative effort of all the members in the educative community. And lastly, assess the new situation and set new goals if needed. You have come full circle to take a fresh look at your situation and to set new, more achievable goals. Once you set new goals, recycle through the stages again and again, this is the mental frame of continuous professional improvement. Okay? So now if you try to take note again, professional reflection is all about self-knowledge. It's about reflecting the past, the present, and the future. It is having solitary dialogue. And if you try to achieve all of these things, check yourself among the levels of maturity. If you are really matured as a professional in the field, or might be you are losing yourself, you need to search first for yourself in order for you to go to the path wherein you will attain a matured professional. Okay? And lastly, those reflections that you have with your professional reflections, solitary dialogues, and etc., you need to take it into action. The more that you have the sequence and the more that you have the steps, how to take action with the reflection that you have, the more that you will be having a significant and meaningful outcome or effect at the end. Okay? Sige. So with that, therefore, the key towards successful professional reflection and learning to improve practice is checking ourselves within and start to evaluate our actions through self-knowledge and solitary dialogue wherein your ultimate goal is to attain professional maturity. And you will not anymore singing the song, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. But instead, I believe I can fly. Because again, this is not only the work of mind, not only the work of heart, but this is the work of both mind and heart. Again, I would like to highlight reflection, professional reflection needs the mind and the heart in order for us to achieve professional maturity. So once again, this is Sir J saying, Padayon kita, teachers. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have learned something this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And now we will proceed to the question and answer portion. Our first question is from Christina Alcantara. What do you think po are the benefits of reflective teaching in the new normal setup of education?
Okay, what is the benefit of reflective thinking in this new normal situation? Of course, there are a lot, but I will be naming three. If you have reflective thinking, first one, you will be directed. If you are directed, which means you know what to do, right? You know what to say, you know what to decide on. Secondly, if you have reflective thinking, you will be knowing yourself. And based on St. Augustine, if you know yourself or you have that interiority, you know how to situate yourself in any context. For example, ma'am, you have a problem like that. You would know how to adapt and solve the problem if you have this reflective thinking. Because you know yourself. And lastly, with this pandemic that we have a lot of problems. Tama po ba? Marami po tayong pressures, marami po tayong stress in life. At dahil diyan, confused and a lot of doubts po yung nangyayari sa ating sistema. At dahil po diyan, kinakailangan natin yung reflective thinking. The more that we have that reflective thinking, the more that we can eliminate confusions and doubts. Because again and again, if you have reflective thinking, you have the self concept or the self I mean the self concept about yourself or self knowledge. You have the solitary dialogue. You can attain professional maturity, and at the end, you will be happy of the career that you have taken for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Our next question is from Rowena Bagalawis. How can a teacher improve his or her teaching if he or she lacks skills in using technology or the teacher does not have the needed equipment in teaching online?
Okay, so actually, ma'am, one of the major problems in the distance learning or the new normal is actually the potentials or the capacity to adapt with the technology. However, I would like to suggest that if you have that kind of problem, know yourself. If you have that problem, reflective thinking again, right? So you know yourself. If you are not capable of that particular thing, try to ask help. Me myself, I am a millennial. I am a young. I can do research or search on the Google or on the site or net where I can find solution. However, in some point, I also ask help to my colleagues. If you don't have the capacity to or potentials or capabilities to use the technology, then you try again to ask for help. But take note, ma'am, that if you ask for help, therefore you have also the responsibility to more or less master the help that the person is giving you. Which means if he or she is not there at your side na, you can or you will be able to more or less do the job, do the task with your own. O take note, I will put an example. My co-teacher, she is actually 35 years in experience na at Colegio ng Gusim Bacolod. I called her as mother team. Actually, she is our mother because she is like a mother to us. She is already old in the field, and one of the problem is that potentials or capabilities of the technology. But what do you think is the best solution na ginawa po niya? Nag-ask ng help siya. Nagkaroon po kami ng simple forum or simple friends lang po na pagtitipon-tipon at nag-seminar kami talaga ng Schoology with our friend man po. At doon po, nalaman namin paano gawin yung Schoology, paano po i-manipulate yung Schoology. Even the young ones have learned something because of that collaborative effort. So I hope, ma'am, I know hindi lang po ikaw ang nakakaranas po, marami po tayo o marami po sila o tayong nakakaranas niyan. Pero isa lang po yung masasabi ko. Try to ask help and try to be responsible to master the help that the person is giving to you. Thank you.
That's all the questions we have for now. Any last reminders to our viewers for today po?
Okay, so I think my one last statement to our audience is go back to my audition life. The main reason why we cannot attain true happiness is that we are filled with false ones. We are filled with negativities in life. We are filled with doubts in life. That is why we cannot reflect correctly with ourselves. So the more that you know that you don't rely on false ones, the more that you will be attaining your goals with a smile and with enjoyment in everything that you are taking. So again, the main reason why we cannot attain true happiness is that we are filled with false ones. Thank you, Paul.
There we have it. In behalf of Ibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this very eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today, sir. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Viva Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat. Keep safe mga kabibal.